In Democratic Congressman Tom Suozzi, who was at that White House event today with President Biden as he signed this. Well, Congressman, let me just start with, what do you make of what the Congresswoman said there, and the Progressive Caucus Chair also, about what it means for your voters, for Democratic voters, and how they view this action today?
Well, let me first say what I agree with Pramila about. We all want order at the border. We all believe that the current immigration system is not working. We all believe that the system has not been updated since 1996. In fact, the asylum law was first passed in 1980. When we passed the asylum law originally, in 1980, I'm 61 years old, we were trying to encourage the Soviets to defect at the time, or get the Cubans to defect. We celebrated it. Every time somebody defected or sought asylum, it was like, hey, that's great. They're coming here to America. We're the better country. Those are the bad guys. And so the asylum is a very important part of America's history, but now the system's being abused. Instead of 400,000 or 500,000 people a year, it's 2.4 million people a year, and they're not coming for political persecution or torture. They're coming for economic reasons. Now, we would love to help everybody who wants to come here, but we can't. We have 8 million people that are eligible to come here because of family reunion, but we only bring in 700,000 a year. That's all we're allowed to under the existing law that hasn't been upgraded for 30 years.
Yeah, and obviously this was a key pillar of the bipartisan deal that President Biden was willing to sign, the White House said, that fell apart after Donald Trump tanked it back in February. But on this itself, we see where the numbers are today, just shy of 4,000. They were much higher even in February when all of this was falling apart. Do you think President Biden waited too long to sign this executive order that you support?
No, I think it was the right thing to do. You know, what we would have liked to have happened, what the president would have liked to see happen, is for us to all support the bipartisan Senate deal that was negotiated with the White House. We had one of the most conservative, ethical, honest, hardworking Republicans, James Lankford, a fantastic Democrat, Chris Murphy, a fantastic independent, Kirsten Sinema, who negotiated a bipartisan deal with the White House. Everybody said, hey, this is great. Mitch McConnell liked it. Everybody liked it. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the Wall Street Journal, the president of the Customs Border Patrol Union liked it, even though he's a Trump supporter. And what happened? Donald Trump swooped in and said, let's not do this because I don't want to give Biden a victory. I want to run on the chaos. And he sabotaged the deal. So the American people want us to deal with immigration. The bipartisan Senate deal or something bipartisan would be the best way to do that. But absent that, the president had no choice but to act and to take this executive order.
You have a particularly interesting view on this, given the race that you just won and how, in part, you were calling for stricter immigration measures and saying that you needed, the Democrats, your party needed to be more upfront with voters about the reality on the ground. And so I wonder, what do you say to fellow Democrats who are arguing that the president is misreading the politics on immigration?
Listen to the voters. Listen to the people. Everybody's talking about this issue. This is one of the #1 or #2 polling issues, depending on the district you're in. People are concerned about the border. It's not just Republicans. It's independents. It's Democrats. I'm a very progressive person on immigration. I want to see a pathway to citizenship for Dreamers and for TPS recipients. But we have to have order at the border. And Pramila Jayapal agrees with me, as do all the Democrats. The question is, how do we get there? I think the president took the right step by taking this bold step forward to show we're willing to take action. Now we need to get our Republican colleagues to sit down and negotiate with us and actually negotiate a bill that will provide for more security at the border.
But your party disagrees. You say you agree on the end game, but on how to get there, we just watched it play out on TV. The two of you disagree on how to get there.
Well, that's part of politics, and it's part of debate. And right now, the president is taking this action. I'm supporting the action, and I believe most Democrats support what he's doing. We should still continue to try and negotiate a bipartisan deal to legislate more security at the border, to legislatively fix asylum, and to fix legal immigration so that we can bring more Dreamers. So, you know what I'd love to see the president do? I'd like to see him do an executive order that gave work permits to the spouses of U.S. citizens that currently are undocumented. Everybody in America thinks if you're married to a U.S. citizen, you should become a U.S. citizen. But there are 1 million people in the United States of America that are married to U.S. citizens that don't have official work permits. We should get that for them.
Congressman Tom Suozzi, maybe the president will hear your request here. Thank you for your time tonight. And